Dr. Tahoe Kim looked out the small window of the shuttle. His heart beat fast in his chest. After 10 years as a trauma surgeon in Seoul, he thought nothing could make him nervous anymore. He was wrong. Approaching docking bay 3 of the healer's journey, said a flat voice over the speaker. "Human delegate, prepare for arrival." Tahoe took a deep breath. The massive ship grew larger in the window. It was white and smooth, at least 5 times bigger than Earth's largest hospital. Lights blinked along its hull. This ship could travel between stars in days, while humans had only just reached Mars. "You can do this," he whispered to himself, touching the small flag of Earth sewn onto his white uniform. For humanity. 3 months ago, the aliens had come, not with warships, but with an invitation. The Galactic Alliance, a group of 15 advanced alien species, wanted to start a medical exchange program with Earth. Of all things, they wanted human doctors. Tahoe had laughed when he first heard this. Humans were centuries behind these aliens in technology. What could they possibly learn from Earth doctors? But the aliens had insisted. They said humans had something special, something none of their species had developed: medical intuition. The small shuttle slowed as it entered the huge ship. With a soft bump and hiss, they docked. Tahoe gathered his small bag. Inside were basic personal items and a tablet with medical texts from Earth. The aliens had said to bring knowledge, not tools. The door opened with a smooth sliding sound. Bright light poured in. Tahoe blinked and stepped forward. A blue-skinned being waited for him. It stood on 2 legs like a human, but was taller and thinner. Its eyes were large and completely black. 4-fingered hands were folded in front of it. "Dr. Tahoe Kim," the alien said in perfect Korean. "I am Mev, your liaison during your stay on the healer's journey. Welcome to the Galactic Alliance." Tahoe bowed slightly. "Thank you for this opportunity." "Please follow me," Mev said, turning with smooth grace. "The others are waiting." They walked down a wide hallway. The walls glowed with soft light. Other aliens passed them, some walking, some floating, some moving in ways Tahoe couldn't understand. They had different shapes, colors, and sizes. Some looked almost human. Others were completely different from anything on Earth. "How many species are on this ship?" Tahoe asked. "Representatives from all 15 Alliance species serve on medical vessels," Mev replied. "Each brings unique perspectives to healing." They reached a large round room. Several aliens stood around a floating hologram of what looked like a cell. "This is our main planning room," Mev explained. "The chief medical officer wishes to speak with you." A tall alien with gray skin and 6 eyes stepped forward. Unlike Mev, this being had a certain weight to its movements, like an old professor Tahoe once knew. "Dr. Kim," it said, "I am Chief Medical Officer Larn. Your arrival is most anticipated." Tahoe nodded respectfully. "I'm eager to learn from you. But I must ask, why humans? Our medicine must seem primitive to you." The aliens looked at each other. Then Larn spoke. "Show him," it said to Mev. Mev touched the wall. A screen appeared, showing emergency rooms on Earth. Doctors worked quickly, making fast decisions with limited data. "Your species practices what we call intuitive medicine," Larn said. "You see patterns, make connections without complete information. You adapt to unexpected situations. These qualities are rare in the galaxy." Another image appeared. An alien medical bay where doctors moved slowly, checking screens before each action. "Our medicine is advanced in technology, but rigid in application," Larn continued. "We follow protocols perfectly, but when protocols fail, we struggle to adapt. This has cost lives." Tahoe began to understand. "You want to learn how we think?" "Yes," Mev said. "And in return, we offer our technology and knowledge of thousands of species." A small alarm sounded. Larn checked a device on its arm. "We have our first case," it said. "A Dorvan diplomat with sudden symptoms. Would you like to observe, Dr. Kim?" Tahoe straightened his back. "I didn't come here to observe. I came to help." For the first time, Mev's face formed what might have been a smile. "Then follow us, human doctor. Your first lesson begins now." Tahoe followed Mev and Larn down a curved hallway. They entered a large room filled with machines he had never seen before. In the center was a table where a small orange-skinned alien lay. It had 4 arms and was breathing quickly. "This is Ambassador Kell from Dorva," Mev explained. "He collapsed during a meeting 15 minutes ago." Tahoe approached carefully. The alien's skin had dark spots that seemed to be spreading. "His life signs are dropping," said a tall, thin alien working a control panel. "The scanner needs 3 more minutes to complete its analysis." Tahoe frowned. 3 minutes, but he's getting worse now. "Protocol requires a full scan before treatment," Larn said firmly. "We must know exactly what is wrong." Tahoe watched as the orange alien gasped for air. The spots were now covering most of its body. Something about this seemed familiar. "Has he eaten anything unusual today?" Tahoe asked. The medical team looked at each other in surprise. "What does that matter?" asked the thin alien at the controls. "The scanner will tell us everything." "On Earth, these symptoms might mean an allergic reaction," Tahoe explained. "Has he tried any new foods?" Mev checked a datapad. Yes, he attended a reception and consumed various foods from 17 worlds. Tahoe moved closer to the patient. "I think this is anaphylaxis, a severe allergic reaction. On humans, we would use epinephrine immediately." "But he is not human," Larn said. "We must wait for the scan to." "He might not have 3 minutes," Tahoe interrupted. He looked at the struggling alien's 4 trembling arms. "Does he have something like histamine in his body? A chemical that triggers immune responses?" Mev tapped rapidly on a screen. "Yes, Dorvans have K-histamine that functions similarly." "And do you have something that blocks it?" Tahoe asked urgently. "We have K-blocker, but the dosage." "We need it now," Tahoe said. "His airways are closing." Larn stepped forward. "Dr. Kim, I understand your concern, but you cannot know." The orange alien made a choking sound. Its spotted skin began to turn dark. "Please," Tahoe said. "Trust me." After a moment of hesitation, Larn nodded to Mev. "Prepare a small dose of K-blocker." Mev rushed to a cabinet and returned with a small device. She handed it to Tahoe. "Press this against his upper right arm," she instructed. "It will deliver the medicine." Tahoe did as she said. There was a soft hiss as the medicine went in. For several tense seconds, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the alien's breathing eased. The dark spots began to fade. "Remarkable," Larn said, checking a monitor. "His life signs are stabilizing." The scanner finally beeped. The thin alien read the results. "Severe allergic reaction to pterin wheat protein," it announced. "Recommended treatment, K-blocker." Tahoe let out a long breath. The room was quiet. "How did you know?" Mev asked him. "The scanner took 3 minutes to determine this." Tahoe shrugged. "I've seen similar reactions in my hospital. The symptoms looked like anaphylaxis. When I heard he ate new foods, it made sense to try treating for that first." "But you could not be certain," Larn said. "In emergency medicine, we often can't be certain," Tahoe explained. "We have to make our best guess based on experience and act quickly. Sometimes waiting for perfect information costs lives." The aliens looked at each other. This seemed to be a new idea to them. Over the next few weeks, Tahoe struggled to learn the alien medical technology. The tools were amazing. Scanners that could see inside a body without touching it, medicines that worked in seconds, even machines that could regrow limbs. But he noticed something strange. The alien doctors always followed the same steps. They scanned, waited for results, checked the computer for treatment options, and only then helped the patient. They never seemed to use their own judgment. One day, as Tahoe successfully treated a young alien child by recognizing a pattern of symptoms before the scanner completed its work, Mev approached him. You humans have something we don't, she said quietly. What's that? Tahoe asked. You trust yourselves, she replied, not just your machines. Before Tahoe could respond, an alarm sounded throughout the ship. Mev's black eyes widened. Emergency call from Velo 7, she said. Mining colony disaster. Many injured. All medical staff to shuttle bay immediately. Tahoe felt a rush of adrenaline. This would be his first major emergency with the alien team. You ready? Mev asked. Tahoe nodded. Let's go save some lives. The medical shuttle raced through space. Tahoe sat with 20 alien doctors and nurses. Everyone was quiet, preparing for what they would find. Approaching Velo 7, announced the pilot. Landing in 3 minutes. Mev showed Tahoe a hologram of the mining colony. The cave-in happened here, she said, pointing to a deep tunnel. At least 40 miners are trapped. 7 different species work in these mines. Tahoe nodded. That meant 7 different types of bodies to treat. 7 different ways things could go wrong. A voice came over the speaker. This is Chief Medical Officer Ju-Yun Park. Tahoe looked up in surprise. Another human. I've been at the colony for 6 months, the voice continued. Situation is worse than reported. Cave-in damaged the radiation shields. We have both crush injuries and radiation exposure. Prepare for all emergency protocols. The shuttle landed with a bump. As the doors opened, chaos greeted them. Injured miners were laid out on the ground. Some had crushed limbs. Others had burns. Many were unconscious. A woman in a medical uniform rushed toward them. She had short black hair and tired eyes. The name Park was on her uniform. Dr. Kim, she said, spotting Tahoe. I'm Ju-Yun Park. Thank goodness they sent another human. They shook hands quickly. The situation? Asked Larn, stepping forward. 43 miners trapped, Ju-Yun explained, leading them toward a large tent. We've pulled out 17 so far. Multiple fractures, internal bleeding, radiation poisoning, and our medical fabricator is damaged. We can't produce enough blood substitutes for the Krell miners. Inside the tent, alien medical staff worked frantically. Tahoe saw 6 injured Krell miners, large insect-like aliens with blue blood pooling under them. Krell physiology requires blood replacement within 4 hours of major blood loss, an alien doctor explained. Without the fabricator, we cannot produce enough synthetic blood. Standard protocol says we should prioritize other patients. Tahoe looked at the injured Krell. Their breathing was shallow. What about volume expanders? He asked. Something to keep their circulation going until we can get proper blood. The alien doctor looked confused. Volume expanders. On Earth, when we don't have enough blood, we use saline solutions to maintain blood pressure, Tahoe explained. It's not perfect, but it keeps patients alive longer. Saline would be toxic to Krell, Med said. Tahoe thought quickly. What about their basic blood chemistry? What carries oxygen in their blood? Ju-Yun pulled up a screen showing Krell physiology. They use copper-based proteins, not iron like humans. Can we make a temporary substitute? Tahoe asked. Something with the right electrolytes and a copper base to maintain their blood pressure and basic oxygen transport. The alien doctors looked at each other doubtfully. It's not in the protocols, one said. These miners will die if we do nothing, Tahoe insisted. He turned to Ju-Yun. During the Korean War, doctors made field expanders with whatever they had. We need to try something similar. Ju-Yun nodded and turned to Mev. Do you have copper sulfate and basic protein synthesizers? Yes, but let's try it, Ju-Yun said firmly. We'll start with a small test dose on one patient. While the aliens hesitated, Tahoe and Ju-Yun began working. They combined copper compounds with basic proteins to create a blue liquid. It won't carry oxygen perfectly, Tahoe said, but it might buy us time. They approached the sickest Krell miner. With careful hands, Tahoe administered a small amount of their makeshift blood substitute. The team watched nervously. The Krell's vital signs, which had been dropping, steadied. "It's working," Ju Yun said. "Let's prepare more for the others." As they worked, a loud rumble shook the ground. Dust fell from the ceiling. "Another collapse," someone shouted. Larn checked a device. "Radiation levels are rising. We need to evacuate this medical station immediately." "But the patients," Tahoe began. "Protocol states that in case of rising radiation, medical personnel must relocate to a safe zone," Larn said firmly. Tahoe looked at the injured miners. Many couldn't be moved safely. "If we leave now, half of these patients won't survive the move," he said. Ju Yun stepped forward. "We need to split the team. Some evacuate with the stable patients. Others stay to stabilize the critical cases." "That is not protocol," Larn said. "Sometimes protocols don't fit the situation," Tahoe replied. "We need to adapt." Another rumble shook the ground. Time was running out. Larn looked at the human doctors, then at the patients. For the first time, Tahoe saw doubt in the alien's 6 eyes. "What do you suggest?" Larn finally asked. "We need to move the medical center deeper into the mine," Tahoe said quickly. "Away from the radiation, but closer to the trapped miners." Larn's 6 eyes blinked rapidly. "Deeper, that is the opposite of evacuation protocol." "There's a storage chamber on level 3, Ju Yun explained, pointing to a map. "The rock walls are thick enough to block radiation, and it's close to where the miners are trapped." "But our equipment," began one of the alien doctors. "We'll take what we can carry," Tahoe said. "Basic life support, medications, and diagnostics." The ground shook again. A crack appeared in the ceiling of the medical tent. "We don't have time to debate," Ju Yun said firmly. "Those who want to follow standard evacuation protocol, go now with the stable patients. Anyone willing to try our approach, come with us." To Tahoe's surprise, Mev stepped forward. "I will go with the humans." After a moment's hesitation, Larn nodded. "I will also go. The rest of you, evacuate the stable patients according to protocol." They quickly gathered supplies. Tahoe filled his medical bag with emergency tools and the makeshift blood substitute they had created for the Krell miners. Ju Yun organized teams to move the critical patients. Within minutes, they were heading deeper into the mine. The storage chamber was large and dimly lit. They set up a makeshift medical center, arranging the injured miners on the floor. "Radiation levels are within safe limits here," Mev announced, checking her scanner. "Good," said Tahoe. "Now let's get back to work." They focused first on the Krell miners. The blue substitute was working better than expected. Their vital signs were stable, though not strong. "It's buying us time," Tahoe explained as he checked a patient. "But they'll need real blood eventually." A loud bang echoed through the mine, followed by shouts. "They've broken through to some of the trapped miners," someone called out. Soon, injured aliens were being brought in. Burns, broken bones, and strange injuries Tahoe had never seen before. The medical team worked quickly. "This one's lung sacs are collapsed," called Ju Yun, working on a tall, thin miner with transparent skin. "Standard reinflation isn't working." Tahoe rushed over. Through the alien's clear skin, he could see the problem. The breathing organs were tangled from the collapse. "On Earth, we sometimes use manual manipulation for collapsed lungs," he said, studying the alien anatomy on Mev's scanner. "Maybe we can try something similar." Using gentle pressure with his hands, Tahoe carefully untangled the alien's breathing organs. The monitors showed improved oxygen levels. "How did you know to do that?" Mev asked, watching in amazement. "I didn't know for sure," Tahoe admitted. "But I've treated similar problems in human lungs. Sometimes you have to try the obvious solution first." Across the room, Larn was struggling with another patient, a rock-like alien with cracked skin. "The dermal regulator isn't working," Larn said in frustration. "The cracks keep spreading." Ju Yun hurried over. She studied the alien, then reached into her kit and pulled out a tube. "This is medical-grade adhesive from Earth," she explained. "We use it for emergency wound closure. It's flexible when dry and non-toxic to most species." Carefully, she applied the adhesive to the cracks. It held the alien's rocky skin together. "A simple solution," Larn said, sounding surprised. "I would not have considered using such basic technology. Sometimes the old ways work best," Ju Yun said with a smile. Hour after hour, more injured miners arrived. The team worked without rest, using whatever tools and methods they could. When alien technology failed, the humans suggested alternatives. When human methods weren't enough, they combined approaches. Mev followed Tayo, watching everything he did. She took notes on her device. "You're recording all this?" Taho asked during a brief break. Mev nodded. "The Alliance sent me to study human medical techniques. I never expected to learn so much in one day." "Why are humans so different?" Larn asked, joining them. "Our species have practiced medicine for thousands of years longer than yours." Taho thought for a moment. Maybe because humans had to practice medicine without advanced technology for so long. We learned to use our eyes, our hands, and our instincts. Before they could discuss more, a miner rushed in. "The main support beam is failing. We have 10 minutes to evacuate everyone." Taho looked at the critical patients. Many couldn't be moved yet. "We need more time," he said. Mev checked her scanner. "If the beam fails, this whole section will collapse." Taho and Ju Yun looked at each other. Once again, they needed a solution that wasn't in any protocol. "We can't move all these patients in 10 minutes, Ju Yun said, looking around at the critical cases. Taho ran his hand through his hair. "We need more hands. Are there any other medical staff nearby?" "The evacuation team is too far away by now," Larn replied. A voice spoke from the entrance. "I can help." A human man stood there, wearing a mining uniform with medical patches. He was covered in dust and had a small cut on his forehead. "I'm Minho Lee," he said, "nurse with the mining company. I was trapped with the miners but got out through a side tunnel." Taho felt a surge of hope. Another human medic. Perfect timing. Minho looked around at the makeshift medical center. "What's the situation?" "Support beam failing. 10 minutes to evacuate. Too many critical patients to move safely," Taho explained quickly. Minho nodded, instantly understanding. "We need a triage system. I served as a battlefield medic before working in space. We used color tags for mass casualty events." "Good idea," Ju Yun said. She turned to Larn. "We need to mark patients by mobility and stability. Those who can walk, those who need help, and those who need constant medical support during transport." Larn looked confused. "But our protocol states we evacuate by species priority and—" "No time for that," Minho interrupted. He pulled colored markers from the medical supplies. "Green for walking wounded, yellow for those who need help but are stable, red for critical cases needing constant care." The ground shook again. A crack appeared in the wall. 8 minutes left, Mev warned. They moved quickly, assessing and marking each patient. Minho organized the walking wounded to help carry equipment. Ju Yun prepared the critical patients for movement. Taho checked which treatments could be paused during transport. "We still have a problem," Mev said. "The critical Krell miners need constant blood substitute infusion. We don't have enough hands to carry them and maintain treatment." Taho looked around frantically. He spotted some mining equipment in the corner of the storage room. "Those automatic pumps," he said, pointing. "Can they be reprogrammed to push medication?" Mev examined one. "These are for moving water, not precise enough for medical use." "They don't need to be perfect," Taho explained. "They just need to work for the next 15 minutes until we reach safety." Minho was already dismantling one of the pumps. "I can modify these. We used similar field hacks during emergency evacuations on Earth." While Minho worked on the pumps, Taho noticed Larn standing still, watching them. "What's wrong?" Tahoe asked. You're ignoring all protocols, Larn said quietly. Everything we're doing goes against standard medical procedures. Sometimes protocols have to be broken to save lives, Tahoe replied. But how do you know which rules to break? How do you decide? Larn seemed genuinely confused. Before Tahoe could answer, Minho called out, "Pumps ready." They quickly attached the modified mining pumps to the Krell patient's infusion lines. The makeshift devices hummed and began pushing the blue blood substitute. "It's working," Julian said. 5 minutes left, Mev warned. Tahoe turned back to Larn. "We don't have time for a philosophy lesson, but the short answer is we break rules when following them would cause more harm than breaking them." Larn seemed to consider this. Then, to everyone's surprise, the alien chief medical officer began helping organize the evacuation. Yellow tags first, then red with equipment, green assist, and guard the rear, Larn ordered, using the human triage system. Move in single file toward the north tunnel. The evacuation began. Miners who could walk helped carry equipment. Medical staff moved with the critical patients. The modified pumps kept the Krell miners stable as they were carried on stretchers. As they moved through the dark tunnels, the ground shook more violently. Rocks fell from the ceiling. Everyone moved faster. 2 minutes until collapse, Mev called out, checking her scanner. They were only halfway to the safe zone. Some of the critical patients were declining without full medical support. "We're not going to make it at this pace," Julian said, her voice tense. Tahoe looked at the line of patients and medical staff. Then he saw another tunnel branching off to the left. "Minho, is that a shortcut?" he asked. Minho glanced at it. "Yes, but it's unstable. Mining team marked it as dangerous last week." "More dangerous than our current situation?" Tahoe asked. Minho shook his head. "Probably not." "Then we're taking it," Tahoe decided. "Everyone, change course." Left tunnel. Larn started to object, then stopped. After a moment, the alien simply nodded and helped redirect the evacuation line. As they entered the new tunnel, a massive crash echoed behind them. The section they had just left collapsed completely. "The stretchers won't fit through that narrow section," Julian called out, pointing ahead. Tahoe's mind raced. "We need to change how we carry them." 30 seconds until collapse, Mev warned, her blue skin pale with stress. Minho quickly assessed the narrow passage. "We can turn the stretchers vertical. It will be harder on the patients, but it's our only option." They quickly showed the others how to tilt and maneuver the stretchers through the tight space. The medical team worked frantically, passing critical patients through the bottleneck. 15 seconds. Mev counted down. Almost everyone was through when Tahoe noticed one stretcher still on the wrong side. It carried a Salteri engineer with strange green fluid leaking from a wound on his chest. "Go," Tahoe shouted to the others. "I'll bring this one." Before anyone could argue, he rushed back to the stretcher. The Salteri was unconscious, his breathing shallow. As Tahoe lifted the stretcher, he noticed something odd about the green fluid. It seemed to be eating through the stretcher material. The tunnel groaned. Rocks began to fall. 5 seconds. Mev shouted from the other side. Tahoe abandoned the dissolving stretcher and lifted the Salteri in his arms. He ran for the narrow passage, ducking as the ceiling began to cave in. With a final burst of speed, he squeezed through the tight space just as the tunnel collapsed behind him. Dust filled the air. For a moment, there was only darkness and coughing. "Everyone okay?" Tahoe asked as the dust settled. "All present," Larn confirmed, his 6 eyes blinking away dust. "But the Salteri engineer is declining rapidly." Tahoe laid the alien down to examine him. The green fluid was now leaking faster from the chest wound. It bubbled and hissed when it touched anything. "What is this substance?" Tahoe asked, careful not to let it touch his skin. Mev scanned it. "Unknown compound. Not in our medical database." The Salteri's vital signs were dropping quickly. His skin, normally a healthy purple, was turning gray. Something about this seems familiar, Tahoe said, studying the wound. The way the fluid bubbled and the symptoms it caused reminded him of something he'd seen years ago. It's like a snake bite, he suddenly realized. The tissue damage, the spreading pattern, it's similar to how snake venom works on humans. But there are no snakes here, Zhu Yun said, confused. No, but the principle might be the same, Tahoe explained. Some venoms are acidic and break down tissue. Others affect the nervous system. He looked closely at the wound. This seems to be dissolving tissue, but there's also a neurological effect. The Salteri's nervous system is shutting down. Larn checked the medical database again. There is no treatment protocol for this condition. On Earth, we use antivenins for snake bites, Tahoe said. They're antibodies that neutralize the venom. We don't have antivenin for an unknown compound, Mev pointed out. But we might be able to create something similar, Tahoe said. He turned to Minho and Zhu Yun. In field medicine, what do we use for unknown toxins? Broad-spectrum binding agents, Minho answered immediately. They attach to toxins and prevent them from spreading. And basic neutralizers for acids, added Zhu Yun. Do we have anything like that in our supplies? Mev searched through their medical kits. We have universal toxin binders and base solutions for chemical burns. That might work, Tahoe said. Let's try combining them. They quickly mixed the solutions while Larn monitored the Salteri's fading life signs. This is highly experimental, Larn warned. The protocols for treating Salteri do not include this approach. The protocols aren't working, Tahoe replied. This patient will die if we don't try something new. With careful hands, Tahoe applied the mixture to the wound. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then the green fluid began to thicken and stop spreading. It's working, Zhu Yun said. The tissue degradation is slowing. They watched as the Salteri's vital signs stabilized. The wound stopped leaking fluid. His color slowly improved. I don't believe it, Larn said quietly. A solution based on earth medicine saved him when our advanced protocols had nothing. Mev had been recording everything. She looked at Tahoe with new respect. How did you make that connection so quickly? She asked. Between this unknown compound and your earth snakes. Tahoe shrugged. Pattern recognition. Years of seeing trauma and toxins create a kind of mental library. When I saw this, something clicked. She turned to Tahoe. I need to tell you something. The Alliance Council didn't just start this exchange program for diplomatic reasons. We recognized long ago the humans have a unique medical intuition that our species lack. We need to learn how you think. No, Tahoe shouted, rushing toward the fallen ceiling section. Dust filled the air, making it hard to see and breathe. Who's trapped? He called out, moving rocks with his hands. Minho appeared beside him, helping to clear debris. I count 3 missing. Dr. Park is one of them. Tahoe's heart sank. Zhu Yun was trapped under the rocks. Through the dust, he saw blue skin. Mev was also buried. Larn, Tahoe called. We need help here. The alien chief medical officer appeared, coughing in the dust. Most of our medical equipment was crushed. We have limited supplies now. Forget equipment, Tahoe said. Help us dig them out. Everyone who could move joined in clearing the rocks. Soon they uncovered Mev. She was unconscious, but breathing. Then they found a mining technician with a crushed leg. Finally, they reached Zhu Yun. She was pinned under a large rock, blood seeping from a wound on her head. Careful, Tahoe warned as they lifted the rock off her. Possible spinal injuries. They gently moved Zhu Yun to a clear area. Tahoe checked her quickly. Concussion, broken ribs, possible internal bleeding. She needs urgent care. Larn examined the remaining supplies. We have 1 portable medical unit left. It can stabilize 1 critical patient. Tahoe looked around. Besides Zhu Yun, There were 5 critical patients, including Mev and the miner with the crushed leg. What do we do? Minho asked quietly. We can't help everyone with what we have left. For a moment, Tahoe felt overwhelmed. Then he took a deep breath. We adapt, he said firmly. Larn, what's our situation? Larn checked his scanner. Main tunnel to the surface is blocked by the explosion. Communication systems are down. Rescue teams won't know our location. How long until help might reach us? Tahoe asked. Standard protocol would have rescue teams searching within 6 hours, Larn replied. Tahoe looked at the injured. Many wouldn't last 6 hours without treatment. Then we create our own rescue, he decided. Minho, check if any of the walking wounded know another way out. While Minho gathered information, Tahoe assessed their medical situation. We need to organize what we have and prioritize care. A quiet voice spoke up behind him. I can help with that. Tahoe turned to see a human woman he hadn't noticed before. She was small with short hair and wore a mining company uniform with a medical patch. I'm Sun Wukang, she said, medical officer for the eastern tunnels. I was treating miners when the explosion happened. Tahoe felt a surge of hope. Another human medic. What's your background? He asked quickly. Disaster response in Korea, Sunwoo replied. 5 years with emergency services after earthquakes. Perfect, Tahoe said. We need to create a triage and treatment system with very limited supplies. Sunwoo nodded, immediately understanding. She looked around at the injured. We need 3 zones, she said. Critical, serious but stable, and walking wounded. The walking wounded can help care for others. While Sunwoo organized the patients, Minho returned with news. There's a maintenance shaft that might lead to the surface, he reported. It's narrow and about 2 kilometers long. Only the walking wounded could make it through. Then we send them, Tahoe decided. They can bring back help. Larn seemed confused. Splitting the group goes against emergency protocols. We need to get word out, Tahoe explained. And we need to focus our limited resources on those who need it most. After a moment, Larn nodded. You are right. They quickly organized a group of 5 miners who could walk. Tahoe gave them instructions to deliver to the rescue teams. Tell them exactly where we are and what medical supplies we need, he said. As the group left through the maintenance shaft, Tahoe turned back to their makeshift medical area. Sunwoo had organized everything efficiently. Critical patients, including Ju-Yun and Mev, were in one area. The single working medical unit was being moved between them, giving each a few minutes of treatment. It's not ideal, Sunwoo explained, but rotating the unit gives everyone some care. I've also organized the walking wounded to monitor vital signs and report any changes. Tahoe looked at her with new respect. That's brilliant. Sunwoo shrugged. In disaster zones, you learn to make do with what you have. A miner suddenly called out. Ju-Yun was having trouble breathing. Tahoe rushed to her side. Tension pneumothorax, he diagnosed quickly. Air is building up in her chest cavity. The medical unit is currently on another patient, Larn said. Protocol says we must complete that treatment cycle before. She'll die before then, Tahoe interrupted. He looked around frantically for something to use. His eyes fell on a thin metal tube from a broken piece of equipment. This will work, he said, grabbing it. Minho, I need your help. Stop the drilling. Tahoe shouted, though he knew the rescue team couldn't hear him. More rocks fell from the ceiling. We need to warn them, Minho said, looking up with worry. Larn checked his scanner. Communications are still down. We have no way to reach them. Sunwoo stepped forward. The maintenance pipes might carry sound. We used them during earthquake rescues on Earth. She hurried to a metal pipe running along the wall and hit it hard with a piece of equipment. Then she hit it again in a pattern. 3 quick hits, 3 slow, 3 quick. SOS, she explained. Universal distress signal. They waited, hearts pounding. The drilling continued for a few seconds, then suddenly stopped. After a moment, they heard answering taps on the pipe. They got the message, Sunwoo said with relief. Tahoe grabbed the pipe and tapped out a simple message using the basic code Sunwoo taught him. He tapped, Tun an lun staviol, care fuel. More taps came back, undi eor stood, changing pilan. The drilling stopped completely. Instead, they heard faint voices and the sound of hand tools working more carefully. They're being more gentle now, Minho said, but it will take longer. Tahoe looked at the injured patients. Some of them don't have much time left. Just then, something small dropped from a tiny hole in the ceiling. It was a thin, flexible tube. It's a communication line, Larn said. He picked it up and spoke into it. A voice crackled back. It was the rescue team leader. They were 30 meters above and working to create a safe passage. But it would take at least 2 hours. Many of our patients cannot wait that long, Larn told them. We need emergency medical supplies. The voice promised to send supplies down through a small delivery tube once they widened the hole a bit more. While they waited, Tahoe, Minho, and Sunwoo continued caring for the injured with what little they had. Ju-Yun's condition was getting worse. The Krell miners needed more blood substitute. Mev was still unconscious. 20 minutes later, a wider tube snaked down from the ceiling. A package slid through, containing basic medical supplies and one emergency stasis pod for the most critical patient. Larn immediately pointed to Ju-Yun. Use it for her. She is the most critical. Tahoe was surprised. Are you sure? The protocols usually prioritize. I am learning when to break protocols. Larn interrupted. Dr. Park has knowledge we need to save the others. And the alien hesitated. It is what you would choose. They carefully placed Ju-Yun in the stasis pod. Once sealed, her condition would stabilize until she could receive proper treatment. With the new supplies, they were able to help the other patients. Tahoe showed the aliens how to use simple splints and pressure bandages when high-tech options weren't available. Sunwoo taught them triage techniques from disaster zones. Minho demonstrated field medicine from his military days. The aliens watched and learned, taking notes and asking questions. Your methods are so different from ours, Mev said. She had regained consciousness but was still weak. We rely on technology and protocols. You rely on experience and adaptation. Both approaches have value, Tahoe said. The best medicine combines them. Finally, after 2 hours of careful work, the rescue team broke through. They created a safe passage and began evacuating the injured. 3 days later, Tahoe stood in a large meeting room on the Alliance station. Larn, Mev, and several high-ranking Alliance officials sat around a table. Ju-Yun, now recovered, and Minho and Sunwoo were there too. An older alien with golden skin spoke. I am Director Voss of the Galactic Medical Council. We have reviewed the reports from Velo 7. Your team saved 41 lives under impossible conditions. The director's voice was serious. You broke 17 protocols and ignored standard procedures. Tahoe prepared to defend their actions, but the director continued. And in doing so, you achieved the highest survival rate ever recorded in a classified disaster, 87%. The previous record was 62%. The room was silent. Our initial evaluation suggested humans might have useful medical insights. Director Voss said, we never imagined how valuable those insights would be. The director turned to an aide, who placed a document on the table. This is a formal request to establish a human medical academy on Alliance Central Station. We wish to incorporate human techniques into our standard training. Tahoe looked at Ju-Yun, Minho, and Sunwoo. They were all smiling. Furthermore, the director continued, we are creating a new classification within Alliance medical ranks. Intuitive practitioners. The first members will be the 4 of you. 6 months had passed since the mining disaster on Velo 7. Tahoe stood at the front of the large room on Alliance Central Station. Before him sat 50 students from 16 species, including 5 humans. Today was the first day of classes at the Human Medical Academy. The room was specially designed with seats for all body types. Some aliens floated in special tanks, others perched on wide platforms. A few sat in regular chairs. All watched Tahoe with curious eyes. "Welcome to the first class of the Human Medical Academy," Tahoe began. "I am Dr. Tahoe Kim, your lead instructor." He looked around the room, meeting the gaze of each student. 6 months ago, he had been just another doctor from Earth, wondering what he could possibly teach advanced alien species. Now he understood. "Many of you have trained in traditional Alliance medical techniques," he continued. "You've learned to use amazing technology and follow detailed protocols. This is excellent knowledge." Tahoe paused, remembering the dark tunnels of Velos 7. "But in this academy, we will teach you something different. We will teach you what to do when the scanners break, when the protocols fail, when you must rely on your hands, your senses, and your intuition." At the back of the room, Mev was recording the lecture. Beside her sat Larn, now the official Alliance liaison to the Academy. Both had changed since the mining disaster. Larn had learned to question protocols. Mev had become fascinated by human medical approaches. "Let me introduce your other instructors," Tahoe said. Juhyun Park stepped forward. "I will teach emergency triage and resource management." After her recovery, she had been promoted to head of emergency medicine. Minho Lee waved from his place near the wall. "I'll be teaching battlefield medicine and improvisation techniques." He had left the mining company to join the academy full-time. Sun Wukang stood next. "My classes will cover disaster response and adapting to limited resources." Her calm efficiency during the crisis had impressed everyone. And finally, Tahoe said, "I'm pleased to introduce our newest instructor." A door opened, and a small, elderly human woman walked in. She moved slowly, but her eyes were sharp and alert. "This is Dr. Han-suk, my mentor from Earth. She has 50 years of experience in rural medicine, often working with limited technology. She will teach what we call clinical eye, the ability to see and understand symptoms before scans confirm them." The students whispered among themselves. Many had never seen so many humans in one place. "You may wonder why the Alliance created this academy," Tahoe continued. "Let me tell you a story about Velos 7. He described the mining disaster, the improvised treatments, the life-saving decisions that broke protocols. As he spoke, he saw understanding dawn in the students' eyes. "Humans are not the most advanced species in the galaxy," Tahoe admitted. "Our technology is centuries behind yours, but we have something unique to offer." He activated a screen showing Earth's medical history. Doctors working during wars, natural disasters, and epidemics, often with minimal resources. For thousands of years, humans practiced medicine without advanced technology. We learned to observe, to improvise, to trust our instincts. We call this intuitive medicine. Tahoe walked among the students. The Alliance has recognized humans as having a special aptitude for medicine. They created a new classification for us, intuitive practitioners. But I believe everyone in this room can learn these skills. He returned to the front of the class. Medicine is not just about technology. It's about seeing the patient, not just the readings. It's about adapting when things go wrong. It's about never giving up, even when the protocols say you should. Tahoe looked at the eager faces before him. These students would take human medical techniques back to their worlds. They would save lives using methods developed on a small blue planet far away. In our first class today, I want you to forget your scanners. Forget your protocols. I'm going to teach you to use your eyes and hands to diagnose illness. As the class began, Tahoe felt a deep sense of pride. Humans had found their place among the stars, not through power or technology, but through healing, through caring for all living beings, no matter their form. Throughout the galaxy, a saying had begun to spread among alien species: when death comes calling, find a human. Now, thanks to the Academy, they would add, or someone trained by humans. The lesson began.